So this is a first for me. We're going live just to see what we can do to just put out some content to help people. But I wanted to share this story because something interesting happened. I am not a green thumb. I do not know anything about bushes, about trees, about horticulture. I just know when I see like for me, I love roses. Roses are one of my favorite flowers, and we have a rose garden at our house, but I don't even know how to tend to it. So here's what's interesting is our neighbors have just this beautiful, I don't know, there's probably like 20 different rose bushes in front of their house, and they're always so full and produce some of the most amazing roses. And my wife was saying, our rose bush keeps growing back. We got to figure out what to do with it. We tried ripping it up before it continues to grow. And so I'm thinking, well, if we just let it grow, we just keep watering it, we fertilize it, we're going to get some really cool flowers like our neighbors. So again, total ignorance, no problem saying it. I just continue to water it. We have it set up on a watering system. We'll continue to, I mean, we live in Southern California, so it's gorgeous out here. The sun shines. We fertilize it every once in a while. But these roses look like they're withering, they're straggling. Every once in a while, one will come out that looks nice. But the reason I wanted to share this is because I finally asked our neighbors the other day of like, what's your secret? What are you doing differently? Our roses over here suck. They look mangled. Yours look gorgeous. And in fact, can I cut a few off for my wife? And they start laughing and they say, well, here's what we do. We actually have to prune it. Now, yes, I know what pruning means, but I said, what do you mean specifically? What do you mean prune it? And he says, well, multiple times a season, we go in and we cut it back. And this is the part that's so interesting to consider is that, wait a minute, the branches that aren't producing, they begin to cut it back. So actually delete part of this bush, of the flower. And because they cut out the parts that aren't producing, it allows the entire bush to begin to give more nutrients, provide more, oh gosh, what's the term I'm looking for? More saturation, more nutrients, whatever it is, to the ones that are. And so I started to think of, I don't know if it's called the law of deletion, but it's like when you cut out the parts that aren't producing in life, it allows us to focus more so on these other areas that continue to produce massive fruit. And so it's funny because I've heard a lot of people say, I love gardening. It's very peaceful. I enjoy it. I don't. I'm not one of those guys. I'm high energy. I love doing stuff with my hands, with movement and all these different aspects. But we can still learn from things that we don't necessarily absolutely throw ourselves into and love. And it's this law of deletion. And so as I was learning that, I thought, what are areas of my life where maybe I'm continuing to give my attention, continue to give my time, continue to show up for, but are not producing fruit. It's like I'm trying to get something desperately at this place of scarcity and like wanting to will it to grow. But because I'm not giving it what it needs in the right places and deleting the parts that are sucking all the nutrients out, that I'm not getting the fruit that I'm looking for. So again, this was just quick to get, first of all, to figure out even if I'm doing this live thing right, but just to share some thoughts with you of something as simple as where I suck at at pruning rose bushes, but I've gotten so good in different areas of my life of cutting back the things that no longer produce. So here's what it looked like for me in the beginning was actually cutting out some of the relationships that no longer were serving this newer version of me. Now I'm not saying anything against them, but well, maybe I'm saying something against me. As I continue to grow, there's certain relationships that at one time served me. But because they didn't, I stopped investing into them. And I didn't tell them, like, hey, you're not good for me. I'm cutting you out. But as I started kind of deleting these things from my life, it allowed me to focus in these other areas that began producing so much more fruit. So, really, today is just a quick share of the law of deletion. What my neighbor taught me about rose, how to cultivate a rose bush. So, if you are a green thumb out there, this is great for how to get your rose bush going by cutting off and pruning, but more so in life of different areas, whether with friends or even family at times, maybe of hanging out in places that maybe we shouldn't be hanging out at. And as we start to cut these parts out of our lives, it is that very part of pruning that allows these other areas for us to grow. I don't even know how to turn this thing off. How cool is that? I am brand new to this. So maybe next. There you go. And we're done over here.